Hello everybody, my name is Jackson Queen and I am a long-term sub here at Talmadge High School. This past quarter, our classes, we interacted with a documentary called Human by Yann Arthus-Bertrand. Within this documentary, he traveled around the world to interview as many people as he possibly could. And in these interviews, he asked them, what is the most important thing in your life? What is on your mind right now? What comes to you as a person? How do you show yourself to the world? And through these interviews, he had these people tell their life stories. And in doing so, he was able to identify different themes that make up the human experience. In doing so, he made this documentary where he lumped up each person into different themes, such as love, abuse, immigration, happiness, the meaning of life. And we saw how this played out throughout the world. In doing so, we saw how different people interact with the world around them, the different things they believe, the different stories that they tell. And in doing so, we decided that we wanted to make our own version of Human. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Human, Volume 1616.
I believe everyone has a culture that they celebrate, and a culture that I celebrate is Tet. It is a Vietnamese New Year thing, and people call it Lunar New Year's, but it's Tet for me. And like how we celebrate it, we visit family, eat food together, have lucky money and stuff. And I feel like that's a cool thing about my culture, and I feel like everyone has a culture, and other people's cultures are really cool to learn about too. And I feel like I wish people knew more about the culture that I celebrate, and just like don't get me confused with like Chinese and stuff, and like actually get to know me. That's why people should learn about other cultures. And I feel like if you don't think you have a culture, everyone has a culture no matter what. And I just think that culture is not just something that you celebrate. It can be like beliefs, music, the way you act, the people you're around. That's what culture is. And I feel like, yeah, learning everyone's culture is cool. And I think like no matter the race, the hair, the skin color, I feel like culture is what makes us get together and stuff. And I feel like, yeah, culture is what makes us who we are today, and why we should all love each other, because at the end of the day, everyone has culture and we should all love each other even if we are different.
I want to talk about understanding and how people are like different, and it's hard to understand people because not everybody is the same, and like everybody has like different cultures. And an example from my life is like when I was younger, I didn't know that there was different languages, and I thought people were just saying different like words that I didn't understand and didn't know. And other ways that people can be different is by like their culture, how they walk, how they talk, how they like decorate their houses, how they look, and that's why I think that it's very important to learn that everybody is different, and it's hard to understand some people sometimes, but yeah.
So like pretty much all my life I've been really decisive, and I don't think it's a good thing, especially because like I feel like when I'm decisive I'm never clear on what I actually want, and it messes up like choices I want to make. Or like it could be really annoying to other people because I'd be like, no, I want this, but then I'm like, no, but I don't want that, I want this. And it's like really annoying. My mom actually did say something to me about it before, because like this year I was supposed to do basketball, which I didn't because I was being indecisive and decided to not do it and do track instead. And I did actually want to do basketball, but my mom said it was too late because I should have said basketball if I wanted to do it. So yeah, and she said that I need to stop being so indecisive. My mom's husband said that like a lot of people tell me, so I know it's a thing that I need to work on. And I feel like if I worked on it, it would be really better for me, so I can just make clear decisions and say what I really want to say.
My word is outgoing. My word is outgoing. And being outgoing, to me, it just feels so free, and it's just, I feel like I can just be myself around anyone. Like, I don't think I have like a reason to be shy, and like, I don't know, I feel like there's really no point for me to be shy and like just not be myself around people. I think like if you're like a naturally shy person, yeah, it's fine, I guess, but I think like to me I was like always the loudest kid in the room. Like I've been the loudest kid in the room. Like I feel like that's not like a surprise. But I just think like if you're shy, you should try to like come out of your box and like talk to people who you don't know. And like I really think like, oh, just give anyone a compliment. Like find something to compliment someone on, even if you don't mean it. But I don't know, I think that's like my advice, to like be outgoing, because I just think it's so like refreshing to meet outgoing people and to know like other people aren't shy, because I feel like shy people judge me, I'm gonna be honest, but I just love outgoing people, and I love being outgoing, and I feel like it's like so refreshing and free.
I wasn't always this quiet, but when I used to go to Jennings, I was talkative, I was happy, and I was very confident. All my friends went there. I used to go to football practice every day, and I just felt connected with the people around me there. And I was even supposed to start varsity at North, but then I had to move to Thomas. And then when I moved to Thomas, everything changed. I didn't know anyone here, so I just stayed quiet to myself, and I made a promise to myself to get good grades, stay focused, and just make my parents proud. And while I was doing that, at first, I didn't really talk to any people here because I just felt uncomfortable talking to new people because they were randoms and I didn't know them. So I stayed quiet, and after a while, being quiet became peaceful. I could just sit in my own thoughts and just observe the things around me, and after a while, that isolation, it started to affect my relationship with my family and cousins, because I got so used to being quiet. It's like I don't talk to them much as I talked to them back then to now, and it's like, yeah. And one thing that I learned is that isolation can help you grow and protect you, but if you're not careful with it, it could slowly disconnect you from your loved ones.
But apparently my left arm is cursed, because like last year or 2 years ago, when I was in third block science, I was doing a project when we were supposed to be doing something else, and I was cutting, and when I was cutting, I managed to cut off part of my left middle finger, and I didn't notice I had cut off part of my middle finger until I raised up put my scissors back on the desk, and I had noticed that there was a bit of skin on it, and I went to the sink. I rinsed my hand. I rinsed my hand in water. I didn't want to cause too much commotion, so I quietly told the teacher. I don't think I succeeded, but I quietly told the teacher. We went down to the nurses with a paper towel around it, and they called my dad. Well, I washed my hands like 5 times, and they called my dad. And after a brief stop at our house, we went to the hospital, and it took a few minutes, but when we got back in, someone came in, filled up a bowl with cold water, and someone else came in, looked at it, told us that there was too much material missing to stitch it, so they had to create a fake scab, or a false scab, using some sort of foam-like material, and they disinfected it, they sanitized it using a syringe filled with that cold water mixed with something else, and I don't know how to describe the pain of that. It felt like cold fire. That was the only time I felt pain the entire time. It felt like cold fire, like.
So whenever I was really young, I always loved to draw. I always try to find some blank sheet of paper or like any crayons or markers so that I could draw. And I would like go downstairs or go to my room and draw. Now 90% of the time when I was at school, if I was at lunch or if I had any free time, I would just draw or like put some art tutorials of like sketches, like arms, fingers and stuff. And I also loved going to clubs that had to do with art, like craft club, where like you can make arts with beads, you know, like those little circle thingies. Now, I think about 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, maybe a month, whenever I was like in my room, my auntie asked, "Hey, you want to draw?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And after about an hour, me and her just started drawing in her room, and I drew her an Ami droid from The Incredibles, while she drew me a raccoon, and that was one of my favorite times right there. Now, after we finished drawing, we both gave our drawings to each other. I gave her the Ami droid, and she gives me the raccoon. Now, how I describe art is like art has good creativity, like animations, clay, sketches, shading, and there's a whole lot more you can do with art. I rely on patience whenever I'm drawing, because if I smudge the eraser too hard, like the paper could like rip or crumble, and now I just have to start all over. Art is something that I would always love. I mean, I will always love. And it's a good use of your free time.
I like to create things because it makes me happy. Like, it makes me happy that I get to show my friends something that hadn't been made before, but it's now here. Like, I've made many cars and games and stuff. It's like, and kind of structures as well. I think it's just honestly cool to create your own thing because you get to put your own imagination into it. And with you being the creator, you can add your own little touches to it and whatnot. Like, you're speaking like a car or something, you'd add like a little secret detail or something that relates to you or a friend. I think that's just one of the things that makes me happy.
So in my life, I have a lot of passion, especially for sports, like baseball and wrestling. And my passion, it fuels my life with sports because it makes me work hard, it makes me love the sport more. And then this year in 2026, I found my passion for wrestling a lot more. I wanted to become a national champ in college, and that's the end goal. Actually, no, that's not the end goal. Going to the Olympics is the end goal. But I want to go to like Kent State on the low side or like an Oklahoma State University on the high side. But working hard, going to extra practices, going to extra camps is really what makes me better. And that's just how my passion is driven. I really love the sports. I really think I could be really good at them. And they're my best things in life that have to offer me. And I just feel the most passionate. It makes me feel the most confident about myself, and I love it very much. Also, I'm a religious person with God, so also like it makes me, when I'm in sports, feel the most close to Him, even if I'm struggling or not. Because we all struggle with our passions. That's the thing.
Something I love to do, like something that makes me happy, is football because it's a big part of my life. It was something I played since I was little. I've always studied players that played my position. I've always watched the games every Sunday or Monday. It makes me happy because it brings me joy when I'm out on the field playing with people that I love or getting wins or doing something that makes coaches proud and getting better or showing off my talent and building onto that talent. That's what makes me happy. And I enjoy doing a lot of things on the field, scoring touchdowns, getting interceptions, making big plays, winning games, having undefeated records. And for people who do play sports, I would say the same thing, but sometimes it could be frustrating or emotional because you really love this sport a lot. And when you love this sport, it comes with a lot of emotions. Like maybe you'll cry about it when you get home. You'll try and act tough about it, but you're really hurting when you know you could have made this play or got this win or done something for your team so you could have won or did better or made a coach proud. And like making good plays, like doing all the good stuff, that will make you happy and that'll show that you love this sport. Because either way, if you're mad or sad or happy about what you're doing in the game, that's really showing that you're loving this sport because it shows that you have those emotions for the game. And for happiness, when you're doing the things like scoring touchdowns and doing the stuff you love, that's showing happiness. You're smiling and celebrating with your teammates and smiling and laughing in the locker room with coaches. That's showing that you love the game and showing that you have happiness for the game.
For years, I struggled with anxiety, but I just didn't know it. It all started in 6th grade when something happened with my grandpa. I didn't really know how to express my feelings with that, so I kind of just like bundled it all up and like put it in the back of my mind. But eventually it started giving me panic attacks, which it made my like chest feel like it was getting vacuum sealed, and I didn't know what it was at the time until one day I just decided to bring it up to my counselor, and she was asking me like really specific questions about it. And then she told me that I was having really bad anxiety attacks. For a couple years, we just practiced doing breathing and like coping skills to help it. That helped for a little bit until the summer before I came to high school. Halfway through summer, I was starting to form an eating disorder. And even just looking or thinking about food would give me a panic attack, which for that short amount of time, I didn't really see my counselor at all. So I couldn't really tell her about it because she was like really booked. And then the first week of high school, I had a counseling meeting with her, and I told her about it. And then she ended up putting me on a medication, and that really helped. And I also feel like just being around people really helped me too, like my friends. But I really think it's important to be open about your mental health and for people to take mental health seriously, because I know hearing other people's stories really helped me like open up to my mom about it, because I was like kind of embarrassed about it. I thought like it was my fault. But I feel like just hearing other people's experiences with it helps you feel more normal and like you fit in.
أنا بتذكر أول مرة زي أنا طلعت على حالي في المراية، ما شفت إشي حبيت في حياتي فيا، زي شفت كل إشي مش منيح، ما حبيت حالي بالمرة. دايما كنت أخلي حالي زي أفكر كل حدا أحلى مني ولا حدا رح يحبني عشان أنا مش حلوة. أول مرة أنا راجعت عشان أنا حسيت أنا كنت نصحانة، كنت 12 سنين. كان كثير صعب بس عشان ولا حدا عرف، وأنا لازم أعمل كل إشي لحالي. كل إشي حسيت ما بقدر أحكي لحدا عشان رح يفكروا أنا مجنونة ولا أنا بدي مستشفى. ما عرفت شو أعمل في حياتي، ما عرفت ليش أنا عايشة، ما عرفت ليش أعيش، ليش أعمل كل إشي. كل يوم بتوجع أكثر وأكثر. بعدين حسيت زي خلص هذا حياتي، لازم أقعد وأحكي للناس أنا جميلة وأنا منيحة وأنا كل إشي منيح. بعدين حسيت حالي زي بعد ما أنا حكيت لحالي أنا حلوة وأنا كل إشي منيح فيا، حبيت حالي.
I think one of the biggest challenges in my life is like overcoming obstacles, and just like that's my theme for my life, I would say, because I have a really bad ADHD, and I figured it out when I was in 3rd grade, and ever since then I am so grateful. It's one of the best choices I've ever made to get tested, because now I know that I have it and I can get help for it. And it's something that I have done for many years and overcome, and will keep overcoming it, because that's what makes me human.
Loneliness is a big part of my life because it helps me relax when I'm overwhelmed or just need to be alone. But like for other people, loneliness can mean like they don't feel liked by other people. But you also have to view loneliness as a positive thing, because even though you want to be around people, you also have to learn how to be alone, because sometimes other people won't be there to be around you. Like certain people view loneliness as a negative thing because they want human attention and they just want to feel liked. But for me, loneliness
is a positive thing, because whenever I'm overwhelmed or I'm honestly just tired sometimes, I go upstairs in my room and I just sit, play games, listen to music, or just sometimes I even read whenever I'm just bored or something. So whenever you feel lonely, just think of it as a positive thing, because not all the time you're gonna have people around you to help that.
In the 6th grade, I used to inflict harm upon myself a lot because my grandparents moved out of Talmadge, and when I got to the new school, I wasn't doing very well because I didn't have any friends, and I guess that's what fully pushed me there, because I was already kind of isolating myself emotionally because of other things happening. But when I did make friends, they kind of reported me to the counselor. But I'm very grateful for that, because I wouldn't be where I am now today. I probably wouldn't be as mentally healthy as I am today. And I'm very grateful for them. I'm very grateful for my counselors. I'm very grateful for the school staff. I'm very grateful for the staff we have here too. I feel mentally, I've had a ton of people help me, and I feel that's why I am who I am today and why I haven't relapsed in a really long time. Yeah.
I feel like a common theme from my life would be happiness, because I'm always happy. And I've realized that because I was in Mexico a few years ago, and this old lady comes out to me talking in all Spanish, and I didn't understand anything because I don't speak Spanish. And then until our tour guide said oh yeah, she said your life would be full of happiness and some other things which I forgot. And then back in my hotel, I realized that I'm oh yeah, she actually said that. That made me feel really happy, and I felt I was gonna cry, because that just made me super happy, and yeah. And then another thing would be okay, so a lot of things that make me happy is giving back to the community and stuff, and that just makes me really happy, and I think everyone should do that, giving back. And yeah.
Happiness to me is having opportunities that kids and people around the world don't have. For example, education. I believe education is one of the most important opportunities you could get, especially at a young age. And I know that not a lot of people and children have that opportunity. And I feel people just take everything for granted. Even the little things, being able to walk, speak, express yourself, I feel like that itself is an opportunity, and not a lot of people have it. Like, they can physically speak, but they can't express it. Maybe because of like the government, people around them, just hateful communities. Yeah.
I think being happy can make other people happy, and doing small things like just like talking to someone, or maybe like sitting with someone at a table can like change people's days, and like places and like objects and things can make people happy, like the beach is one that makes me really happy, or like playing a video game, or like just being on the phone with someone can like make people's day.
There are a lot of things in my life that make me happy, some of which are sports, my friends and family, and hanging out with my friends. Happiness can mean different things for different people. Some people may think happiness is coming home after a long day of work and seeing their family, or it could be after sports, hanging out with their friends. Yeah.
A common theme in my life is happiness, and an example of that would be when I go shopping with my grandma. This summer we went to Columbus and we went to Easton Mall and we shopped all day there. It was so much fun. She loves to go shopping. She's really been a big inspiration for me with my fashion and clothing. We were so excited while we were going shopping. When we came back to the hotel, we were giving my mom and my sister a whole display of what we got, of all the new clothes we had for school. And she's just been like a really big part of showing me happiness, because I really enjoy just spending time with her. And she always says anything for my grandkids, which has really like just kind of stuck in my head over the years. I remember when we used to go there when I was younger, we would go down to the American Girl doll store, which isn't there anymore, sadly. But I just always remember going shopping with her. We would walk the stores forever. We would be playing out Christmas lists, just kind of doing like what we want for the year. And it's always been one of my favorite highlights of my summers.
Spending time with the people I love most is like a special connection in my life. I think making connections with people can create like just a spark that'll just help you throughout your life. And I also think providing happiness for others is really good for happiness. It helps you like feel good, and no matter if it's just like a small compliment or anything, just to make someone else's day better. Not everybody experiences happiness the same. It can be different for everybody. Some people weren't like raised the same, they don't have the same like home life, and it can just be different for everybody in life. And I think experiencing things with people you love the most is also special to me. I think making memories with people is just like one of the best things you can do.
I feel like not all happiness means about the actions that you do. It could also just be like somebody that makes you happy. Like my dad. My dad's one person that makes me very happy. He's a dude that I look up to a lot. He's always there for me and he cares for me, and it makes me feel like, oh, how I'm wanted and everything, and it just makes me feel like, oh, I'm a good person, like I can continue to do what I do best. what I feel like it means to be adventurous for me is like going out and doing things normal people wouldn't really like to do. I kind of just find like joy and peace in that. It kind of just like calms me in a way. But I love doing like wakeboarding, snowboarding, like rigorous activities that, like I said, normal people wouldn't really like to do. Yeah, I really just like find joy in it, and it kind of like calms me down in a way, because I'm not really focused on like the good or the bad. I'm more just focused on like what I'm doing in the moment, and it takes my mind off of things that like could be worrying me like in the real world. So it's kind of just like a really good coping method for me, and I like going on like hikes, and that brings me closer to nature. So like that and being adventurous, really it makes up a huge part of me in a way.
I think being adventurous could mean things like traveling, being outdoors, and just exploring new things or like trying new things. Being adventurous, for me, it connects to me because I really like traveling. I've been to like a bunch of different places. I've been to like the Bahamas, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and I've also been to like a lot of places in the US, like the east side of it. I really want to go to like the west to see what it's like over there. I was born in Arizona, but that's like the only place I was there for the west. Being adventurous could also make like you inspired. It can make you like want to try new things and want to explore new things. Like if you were to like travel to like a different part of the world, it can make you like see what their culture is like, what the people are like, and how they live. Yeah.
I would call myself adventurous because I like going on hikes and going like to new places around the world. I like trying new things, and I think going on like hikes can like help relieve stress and make you have a better day and make you feel better and more confident. I think right now like stress is like one of the number one problems in the world right now, and I think if people took more walks and like hiking kind of thing, I think they would feel overall better about themselves, but also like the world.
My life has been filled with a bunch of different adventures, from going all around the East Coast to going fishing and hunting and just walking through the woods. I really like doing stuff like that because it just brings me joy, brings me happiness into what I like to do. I think other people should do it too. It could calm them down, bring them joy, can really relax some people, and just what it does to me.
I was always a self-aware kid. I recognized other people's emotions, but I really didn't care. It was kind of hard for me to identify my emotions when I was younger. People like would tell me, like, my mom, she would very like highlight that, like, if I say something that I wasn't supposed to, CPS may get called, or like if you do something that you're not supposed to, like, don't throw me under the bus and all that. So I just kind of was like raised to, like, I was emotional, but I was also secluded, so I kind of kept my emotions to myself. Once I grown with that personality trait, and it was a horrible personality trait for me to adapt. But one time I was in summer camp, going to the 5th grade. There was this girl, she was kind of mean to me. She kind of made fun of me sometimes, and she kind of made me feel like I was less than, but I was just like, okay. I kind of dusted it off. That's what I was taught to do. But one day, she was talking, we were talking about poems and like our life stories and what we've been through. And she was talking about how her mother passed away. I was talking to a group of people that I liked, and I noticed that she was just such an ugly crier. So I kind of laughed, and the teacher, she like ripped my head off for that kind of. And I was just like, oh, sorry. But 2 weeks later, like, I was going school shopping, and like my mom, she was just sick all day. And suddenly that night, as I was asleep, I was woken and told that she passed away. As I looked at the hospital, and I was just in the hospital room and everyone's around crying, I recognized, like, I was just, all I could really think about was that girl and how I laughed at her and how her mom passed away too. And like the day after, I was just begging to go to summer camp. I just wanted to so bad. And I think it was kind of to get away from everyone, and everyone trying to hug me and tell me that they loved me and give me stuff. But at the same time, I really, really wanted to see her. So one day, my dad took me to the summer camp, one of the last like 2 days maybe. And as soon as I seen her, I just ran up to her and I was like, I gave her a hug and I said, I'm so sorry for laughing at your mom. And she like just melted crying in my arms. And I wish I could cry with her, but like my tears were just all dried up. And that just made me recognize, like, and just made me so much self-aware, which carried to me like now, that everyone goes through their own things. And one day I was listening to this song, and it's called Saunders, and I always wondered, I love the song, and I always wondered what the word meant. And I looked it up, and that's why I feel like Saunders will like represent and reflect my story and like what I've learned, and one of the biggest growth like character traits that I've learned and developed it from. So yeah.
So theme here to talk about today is happiness. And the story I chose to relate to that theme was about my 7th grade school year. So during 7th grade, like when I first started 10th grade, I had about 3 friends, and they were all from 5th grade, and they were like very important to me. And I was also a very antisocial person up to that point. So during 10th grade, I was kind of scared to make new friends. So I just stuck with those 3 till I went to science and found out that like most of the people that I tried to avoid actually had stuff in common with me. So I talked with them and we became friends. And to this day, I'm friends with most of them. I also have some that I visit from time to time, and I try to keep in touch with them because I don't know, I feel like everyone should have at least one person to check up with, even if they're not close to each other. So I often check up with them, they check up with me, make sure each other are okay. I usually talk to them about their problems, I'll listen, give them feedback, and I just try to be a nice person towards them. I feel like everyone should have one person to talk to or that they can relate to, so that that person can understand and have a feeling of what that person's going through, so they can try to help them.
When I was younger, I always was really loved by everybody, and
growing up, I would realize that not everything was sunshine and rainbows. I'd always think that me and my brothers were always kids that were always like being yelled at or like being punished, while other kids were like goody two-shoes. And growing up, I always fought with one of my older sisters, and we would not talk. She had a house with kids, and when we would fight, she would always use them against me again and again and again. And my father never knew about it because nobody told him, and I'd leave because I didn't want to deal with it anymore. But as she kept using her kids against me, I just think like it's not worth it anymore. So I just try and ignore it. But I'd come back to my dad's house, and she would tell him, and he would either be outside in the house or in his garage. And I always think that everything was fine, and he would always text me and say, come and see me. So I would go and see him, and we would start talking about it, and my sister would be there, and she would tell him his story, and then I'd tell mine. But he never really believed me because she was an adult and I'm still a kid. So he never believed me, and we'd always argue and fight about it. I'd leave and I'd go to my mom's house. My mom would be there for me because she knew that I'm not a bad kid, and she knows that my dad doesn't really support stuff like that. Like he wouldn't side with the younger person. So and then my other older sister would be there because she went through the same thing but harder than I did. And I always felt that I had this loose connection with my dad because he never really asked me how I felt or how I was doing. He would always assume that I'm okay. And I feel that he just isn't like good for mental health. But growing up, I would always want him to understand that I don't want to be bribed to go to his house. I don't want to be yelled at when I want to speak my opinion. I want to be heard and not just seen. I want him to realize that not everything is about him, and he's not the center of attention like he always thinks he is.
Siento que la familia es importante porque es la persona que usted ve todos los días al despertarse. Cuando va a dormir es la última persona que ve antes de irse a dormir. Y siento que los amigos y las relaciones son otro tipo de personas importantes porque son las personas que lo hacen sentir seguro de usted mismo y puede sentirse amado en los momentos que no siente que lo es. Siento que ellos son personas que suelen comprenderlo a uno, que siempre intentan estar ahí para usted, que le preguntan siempre que está callado, saben notar cuando usted realmente no está bien y cuando tiene problemas y necesita a alguien con quien hablar, quien lo escuche y quien pueda darle consejos.
My friends and family make me really happy because I love hanging out with them and like just playing a bunch of like board games. And I like playing with my friends and hanging out with them to play video games, like card games like poker and blackjack. And then I love bowling and riding my bicycle and yeah, that just makes me really happy.
Love to me is whenever you have somebody around you all day that makes you feel comfortable enough to talk to them and also just to say hi to them every day, give them a fist bump, even if you don't know them. It's still gonna, it could, for all you know, it could make their day. And that shows a form of love unlike no other. It's letting them know that you're here for them even if you don't know them. And it helps them out. Like, it could get them through their day quicker than somebody being mean to them. So, like, a story that I remember is whenever I was sitting alone by myself one day at lunch, somebody came up and sat with me and talked with me. And that person and me are, right now, we're really good friends. And I honestly, the friendship developed from something that it was into a crush. And what I'm saying is that love will become something else. The more you get to know a person, the more likely it's going to become something else.
Unhealthy relationships are hard to notice. With my personal experience, I tend to zone out and only focus on the good parts of a relationship and not the bad that the person is doing. I think people need to understand unhealthy relationships more so they can know how to handle them. Signs of unhealthy relationships may be invisible. It could be something like not telling you how they feel or ghosting you for an hour or two, and that could turn into something bigger like not telling you important things or ghosting you for days or weeks. And it can be really hurtful, but it's important to know how to deal with things like that. I just feel like everybody in life deserves love from someone or something in general, just because love can be so strong in so many different ways with like its touch, I guess. Like, it could be from like a friendship, a pet, family, just like anything like that. And I think that love is so strong because like whenever like you're in it, like it kind of just like doesn't even feel real. Like it feels like you're in like the perfect moment in life. And then like everybody like deserves to feel it because it's just like contagious, I feel like. And it's just everything about it keeps like, as you get further, say you're in a relationship, like the further you go in the relationship, it feels like the stronger the bond gets between you guys. And like it either feels like you're getting stronger together or it's getting like worse, like you're falling apart. No matter like who you are or what you've done in the past, I feel that everyone should feel it, like no matter what.
My parents divorced when I was initially in kindergarten. I was like 5 years old or something. But then my dad and my stepmom just divorced again. And the initial divorce when I was a lot younger wasn't really as like detrimental just because of how young I was, and it wasn't really like super impactful because I wasn't really old enough to have, like I was only around like 5-6 years old or something, so I didn't really have that many, I guess, like memories. And but the newer divorce, it's been like very hard on my family and stuff, because over the time that my dad knew this woman, we built like a whole family and stuff. We got a house, dog, cats, a bunch of pets. I had a bunch of brothers in it. We built like this very strong bond, and it was taken away for, I feel like, kind of selfish reasoning. And I feel like obviously you're never gonna find, I don't think divorce should ever have to be something people do, because I think the person you find should be the person you're with forever, but obviously that's not how life works. You don't know that. People can change. But what I do think is when you build up something so strong, a bond that's like half the duration of somebody's life between multiple different people, and they're only a couple years away from being adults, I don't think that you should rip that away. And I don't think that, in general, I don't think people should divorce if they have kids, unless it's like a dire situation, like abuse or something. But I feel like you should give the kids an opportunity to live with their parents until they're much older, or if you're gonna divorce, you should do it before you make the commitment of having children or building a family.